Well, now that I went on for several minutes, I don't know how long, without the camera on, hello, I'm Laura, and this is my channel, This Neogenian Life, where I'll be sharing stories with you about my life and about being a Neogenian, but a lot of stories just about life in general and little lessons that we can learn from them. And maybe sometimes just a story for the sake of the fact that it's fun to tell stories, and some are fun to listen to. I will be telling a story at the end of this video, but first I want to get some other things out of the way. Things like the fact that, yes, I'm 72 years old at the time of this recording. And yes, that is a paint stick in my hair, in case you're wondering already, because my hair stick was in the other room somewhere, and I was wanting to do this not in a ponytail. And I want to get it out because I have friends who've been waiting for quite a while for me to get a video out and get this thing started. So let's get this party started. Now, I know that there's going to be a lot of people watching this from different areas of life, maybe different religions, different things. But I would like you to stay tuned and listen as I tell you how I came through religion, through specific religions, more than one, through esoteric things, through New Age, to come to who I am now, a synthesis of things, and you might be a little surprised. So please stick with me on this journey, if you would, at least to the end of this video, and then if you're inclined to, come back for more. I plan on posting at least twice a month. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully more in the future, but that's the idea for now. So I will tell you a little bit about Neogenian. There are going to be, by the way, links down below the description in this video so that you can find out more about what that means and what it is in depth. There are books, there are YouTube videos, there are places that you can go to find out what Neogenian even means, which I'll give you a clue. Neo being new, Genesis being beginning, new beginnings. So I believe in new beginnings, and I think that we're overdue for some new beginnings. And we'll see how that goes over the next few years and decades and millennia. Who knows how long it's going to take us to decide to get along on this planet. You know, we've been here for a long time, and as a race, as a species, and we've spent so much of it killing one another, fighting for food, fighting for shelter, fighting for trinkets, fighting for money, fighting for gold, fighting for oil. It's what seems like that's what we are about, but we're not. We are not inherently bad. We are good people. We, just as a race, are not evolved as far as it seems that we should be. To me, as far as it seems we should be, and to some other people too, I'm sure, I know. We're in the survival mode. We don't have to be surviving anymore. Surviving means I've got to get mine before you get it, or I've got to get yours so that I can survive, or so that I can be better or richer or whatever it is. And that's not true. That's really just not true. There's so much killing in the world. Just look at it. And I'm not even going to reiterate it or talk about how much there is going on. You already know. If you're on YouTube and watching this video, then you already know what's going on in the world, at least to some degree. And yeah, you don't want to see killing and all of that. So I'm going to keep this fairly short today. I am sometimes inclined to be long-winded. By the way, I have to share with you, one of my granddaughters for Christmas one year, I think it was Christmas, it might have been my birthday, gave me this lamp. This is a lamp. Yes, it's a TARDIS for you Doctor Who fans out there. And when you open the door, although It's not turned, this part isn't turned on right now. But when you open the doors, it makes the sound of the TARDIS gearing up to go. You know, that, I can't do it. I was going to try to do it, but I can't do it. Okay, so a little bit more. I'm sorry, I know I digress. I'm just going back and forth and all over the place today. I'm just so excited to get this video out. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about myself. I was raised on the Oregon coast, a small town on the Oregon coast, which means I was very familiar with the Pacific Ocean, and I miss it very much. I don't live there anymore, but the Pacific Ocean means so much to me, and I used to spend so much time down at the beach and up by the lighthouse and watching the boats come in and out and drawing pictures of them and just spending time with the ocean. I can't tell you how much peace and how many, I don't want to say revelations, but how many times I spent there that were so relaxing, and that I was able to focus on the moment and learn things. Sometimes from books I was reading, sometimes just with thoughts. It's a good place to be peaceful at. So, by the way, some of the books that I mentioned, I didn't mention by title or anything, are right back here. These are the best books, the only books really on neogenism. Well, I'll show you one. Well, I'll show you the first one because it's the best place to begin. Whoops. And it's Neogenesis, Science of a New Mind. Science of the New Mind. This would be the first one to begin with. You can get it on Amazon. I know it sounds like a shameless plug. Morg wrote it, and bless Morg, I'm telling you what, Morg is a great person. Not everybody knows Morg or knows of Morg, and yeah, that's a name he chose for himself, themselves. I'm still getting used to these pronouns. You know, he, they, him, them, she, he. Binary, I have learned that binary, I'm getting pretty with it in this 21st century. I had to stop and think because I was born and raised and grew up in the 20th century. I'm trying to learn the 21st century, and here it is 2024 already. Took me a long time to get used to calling somebody he, they, or no, they, oh, she's, I thought I was going to be so smart here. They, them, those kinds of things, for being non-binary. And I understand that. It's so much easier to say he and she because we're used to it. And most people I know don't get really offended if you use those, if they happen to be non-binary. Meaning they just, well, you know, you probably know what it means more than I do. They just don't want to adhere to being seen as one gender. And I like that. I think there's too much division in the world. There's too much division in the world. There's too much black and white, Asian and European, I don't know. You know, there's just too much. In the animal world, there are differences between species, and some species don't get along with others. But within species, there's not this, oh, that lion's got a different color mane than I do. Or, oh, that's a black rat, not a white rat. What are we going to do? You know, there just isn't that difference. Now, I grew up in a home that was pretty racist. I was raised by grandparents who were born in 1906 and 1910. And that's how they were raised. That's what they grew up with. And they grew up with, and they grew up with. So obviously that's what they knew. But I could never understand it. And I understand the mechanics of it as far as politics and that kind of thing, and why it became a thing. But on the other hand, I don't understand it because there's no basis for it. We're just all people on the earth, on this world, in this world. We're all just trying to get along. We're trying to do the best we can and be a better version of ourselves. And that's what's most important. It's not what color a person's skin is, what color their hair is, what color their eyes are, how short or tall they are. It's nothing like that. It's about being human. Okay, I've preached enough, I guess, in this video. So how about that little story I was going to tell you? I thought I would tell you a little story about back when I had horses, when I was in my teens and my 20s, and a horse that I had named Comanche. The thing that I want to tell you about Comanche is, first of all, I am 4'11" at this point. Back then, I was 5'1". Don't ask me where 2 inches went. I know where the first 1/4 of an inch went when I had my first daughter, but because that happens sometimes. But other than that, I don't know. I'm in good health. My back feels good. So, I have a strong back. That's not a problem. So I don't know. They just disappeared. So anyway, I was 5'1" back then. And Comanche's back, his withers were 16 hands high, which for those of you who maybe don't know what that means, a hand is 4 inches and horses are measured in hands. And the measurement is from their, not just their back, but from the bottom of from their withers, which is that hump right above their back. Their neck comes down like this. They have their mane hanging down on that. And then there's a little kind of a bump. And then there's their back. Well, that kind of a little bump thing right there at the bottom, that's their withers. So Comanche's back was 3 inches higher than my head. His withers, which made it very difficult for me to get on him, being a short person. Whether I had a saddle or not, I couldn't get okay, first of all, the stirrups had to be adjusted so short because my legs are short that by the time I wanted to get on, I couldn't get my foot up into them to get any lift and get up and get on. So I was always looking for a place to get on, like the fence or a stump, or even if I had to pile up some dirt or something to give me just a few more inches, a little 3 or 4 inch lift, then I would do that so that I could get on him. Well, I had him trained so that he would come over next to it. All I'd have to say is move over here or get over here. I don't know. I think that's what I said. And he would move right over next to it and let me get on. So I had him trained very well. He was young when I got him and green broke, which means you could get on him and he wouldn't buck you off. And you could walk him around. He was only 2.5, so I didn't really ride him other than just once to try him out a little bit and see how he was with a person on his back. But before I bought him, and until after he was 3, he really wasn't ridden. But anyway, back to the story. He was so tall and so big. So one time I was riding out in the arena. We had a fenced-in area where I kept my horse. That was a big arena. We had shows there sometimes, and it was a good place to ride if you didn't want your horse to be too distracted by other things. And my favorite thing was to go on trail rides out on the trails, but it was good to work your horse in the arena sometimes. So I was out there working him in the arena, and I don't know what happened. Oh, I guess I started to get off. That was it. I started to get off. I was wearing a short sleeve sweatshirt because it was cool enough weather. And when I leaned forward like this to swing my leg around to get off, my sweatshirt, the bottom of my sweatshirt got hooked over the saddle horn. I always rode in a Western saddle. That's what I learned, and that's what I always enjoyed. Well, so my sweatshirt hooked over the saddle horn. And as I got my other foot out and got down, there I was, standing on the ground with my shirt up like this over the saddle horn, and everything from my neck down just showing. And there wasn't anything I could do because I was stuck there. I couldn't get back up on him. I couldn't get far enough away from him to get my foot in the stirrup. And I couldn't get him around to the fence or anything. I was just stuck. And the first thing I did, of course, was look around, because that's what you do in a situation like that, to see if anybody's watching. Not because I wanted help. I didn't want anybody to see. I mean, yeah. So I did get out of that situation because I was able eventually to, I think I might have taken my shirt off. I think that's how I got out of that situation. I was going to say I was able to get my shirt off over there. I think I took my shirt off. Been a long while ago. So, yeah, that was one of the funnier situations I got myself into with Comanche. He was a good horse, by the way. But I have some stories to tell about him and some other stories to tell. I'll tell you stories about Smokey the Squirrel that, I'll tell you about those. But it's time I get off of here so that I don't bore you too much. Don't forget that those links are down below or in the description. If you want to subscribe, I will have more videos up, but it'll be, be at least a couple weeks before I get another one up, I think. But if you'd like the video and you want to comment too, that would be great, because then I would know what you think and what you want. And I'm just glad to be here and be able to share with you. Thank you so much for watching. And, thank you so much for watching. And I'll see you next time.